And Sean, now we are going to move in. We're basically moving into the state of Washington. I hope you guys like it because we're moving in to stay for the rest of this preview. Going to be looking at
about 20 minutes.
Yeah, about 20 to 40 minutes of these two previews we got left. We got the Huskies, but right now we're looking at the Washington State Cougars. Go Coug Nation. And the question I kind of want to ask, because I kind of feel like with the Stanford preview and some of the other ones that we've done in this division, it's kind of been leading to this question. And this is a team coming in. Yes, I know they're an air raid offense. They do have their record-setting quarterback, Luke Falk, coming back this season. Brandon and I have talked about before his draft stock coming into the 2018 NFL draft, what it could be. They also got a plethora of running backs. Gerard Wick, Jamal Morrow, James Williams, also Keith Harrington.
The law firm of Wicks, Morrow, and Williams.
They're going to have a plethora of offensive weapons to go with. However, I am going to ask this question, which I know if you're a Cougar fan might seem disrespectful, but it's not. Do the Cougars take a step back this year? Do they take a step back and become maybe the third best team in the Pac-12 North?
I think it depends on their defense. I think obviously the offense is there. We know what Mike Leach's team can do from Texas State and what he did with Washington State. And obviously, like we mentioned, the law firm of Wicks, Morrow, and Williams is nice to rely on. And then also the fact that you have Luke Falk, a guy that is a prolific passer, a guy that has a high NFL draft stock, a guy that can really light up the scoreboard. Having that offense is great and all, but Mike Leach's team usually never have that great of a defense, and that's where you're really going to need to step up when you're the Pac-12 because you have so many great offenses. You can't really be one-dimensional and be great in the Pac-12 because you have USC, they have Darnold, they have a great offense, but the team that ended up coming out of the Pac-12 last year was Washington, not only boasting a great offense led by Browning, but they also had a fantastic defense led by Sidney Jones and this great secondary and this great front seven that they had. So they had the balanced team. I don't know if Washington State is going to be balanced enough to be this powerhouse in the Pac-12. I mean, you look at this young defense led by a young defensive coordinator, Alex Grinch. He's
still under 40.
Yeah, he's adding depth. He's building up his team. It's still a youthful team, but there's not really a player on this Washington State team that can hang my hat on. Like when you look at Stanford last year, they had Solomon Thomas. When you look at that Washington team, they had so many players there, but you could hang your hat on Budda Baker. You could hang your hat on Sidney Jones. You could hang your hat on so many of these different players on the defensive side. I don't know who that player is for Washington State and if they could really push it forward. Yes, they have a great offense, like I mentioned. That's going to win them games, but I don't know if that's going to win them enough games to be Pac-12 champions. And that's the thing. They might take a step back from 7-5 and go 6-6, or they might be able to win 8 games, but I don't think it's going to be screaming Pac-12 championship.
I'm going to say something that I like, and then I'm going to say play devil's advocate to why it might bite them in the butt. And the thing that I like with their schedule, yes, they've got USC, Colorado, and then Stanford and Washington. Good thing is, for 3 of those games, it's October 21st and beyond. The only one before October 21st is the Trojan game, and that's one where I really think that's a loss anyways.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter where that one is. The bad thing is, if you look at last year, this was a team started off with losses to Eastern Washington and Boise State. I know they got Montana State and Boise State again to start the season. Then they just went on a run, and it was the end of the season where they saw loss to end it. So really it's like, yeah, we don't get Stanford and Washington till the end, but really we lost most of our games at the end and the beginning of the season last year.
The thing that I like about their schedule is they have breaks. They have Montana State, which is an easy win, then Boise State, which might be a little bit difficult, but it's going to be in Pullman. The fact that they have 5 straight games in Pullman is ridiculous. The fact that they have 5 straight home games is utterly ridiculous. Well, that comes
from scheduling all your non-conference at home.
But I'm just saying, that's plays right into your hand, right in your wheelhouse. You get set up at home. You get the crowd on your side. That's going to help you start off the season 4-0, I think. I think Boise State could be probably out of those 4 games the toughest of those, but I think the fact that it's going to be in Pullman that's going to help them. And then, like you said, I think you're going to lose that USC game. But the fact that, again, it's in Pullman, you're coming on a 4-game win streak. You have this prolific offense. If your defense is able to step up and pressure Darnold, then you might be playing with some fire there and might be able to pull an upset there. So I look at this team, I think they're probably going to go 6-1 in their first 7 games. And then it's once they hit that Colorado game. But then again, it's those breaks. Colorado, tough game. But then it's a tough game at home too. But then you have Arizona. Then you go play Stanford, but that's at home.
But then you play Utah.
I think that Utah game might be a trap game, though. The fact that it's at Utah after Stanford, and then you go play Washington, you might be too focused on Washington. But still, I think that this schedule plays right into this hand. And looking at this whole schedule, I think this might be the easiest schedule that we've been talking about all preview so far for the North.
Because those games aren't compacted together.
Yeah, it's not that row.
Yeah, like we talked about, especially with Oregon and Cal, where it was like the middle of the schedule. Here's your set. Like here's 6 to 7 games. It's like good luck trying to win those games. Whereas these ones are kind of spread out. And I mean, looking at what they bring, like I know the defense is a question. That's going to be the biggest question in this team. Although they're getting better under their defensive coordinator. The big thing is offense is going to lead this. And the guy I look at, it's going to be Luke Falk, the quarterback returning for, like, not only does he return for his senior year, so he's a senior, he also has the plethora of running backs that he'll have in the backfield. And then also, he returns a talented group of wide receivers that are led by a guy in Tavares Martin who he had last year. So it's like this team offensively could do enough to basically say the defense, just hold them. Just keep them in check. You don't have to be a stellar lights-out defense. Let us do our work. Just make sure that you get some 3-and-outs for us so that you're not constantly on the field.
And then going back to the schedule, just because I think that all of these things play into
they interchange together.
I think, again, they're going to start off the season 4-0. Then it's that USC game that I think they're probably going to lose. And then the other game that I think are trap games besides that Oregon, Colorado, and Utah game is the Oregon. Sorry, the Colorado and Utah game I think are trap games. The Oregon game I think is the real one that you got to be watching out for.
At Eugene?
Because it's after USC, at Eugene, and we talk about Oregon's offense, the fact that they're kind of coming into their own. You're getting a new culture. This is well into the season where that culture might be established. Herbert will be settled as their quarterback. I think that's playing with fire there because when you have such a high-powered offense playing against Oregon, if Oregon can get some stops defensively, you can't stop Oregon's defense, or you can't stop Oregon's offense, and you have this poor defense in Washington State. This is where you might lose because the crowd would be pumped up, the crowd would be going. I think Oregon has a shot at winning this game. So it's just something where you look at it and they might start off 4-0, but then go to 4-2, have that Cal game, improve to 5-2, and then go play Colorado. Might lose that, be 5-3, and that pushes you already out because I think Stanford and Washington are going to have great seasons of their own.
And that's why I look at the schedule, and if I have to give best case scenario, worst case scenario, and then where I think they will be, best case scenario I see 2-loss season, USC and Washington. Worst case scenario, 6 losses, Boise State, USC, Oregon, Colorado, Stanford, Washington.
And that's crazy to say, though. This could be a 2-loss team and be top 25, or this could be a 6.
Or they
team.
could be a 6.
And you could be 4th in the Pac-12.
Like, really, I want to say, like, there's 4 levels to this team for me. 2 losses, 3 losses, 4 losses, and then 6 losses. And the reason why I say that is I think they'll be a 3-loss team. I think they'll lose to Stanford, Washington, and USC, be fine everywhere else this year. However, Boise State beat them last year. Boise State, I know it's at home, but Boise State could get your number yet again. Like, it's possible they did it last year. Oregon, you said that's an easy trap game that you got to avoid basically because of what Oregon's going to be this year with Willie Taggart, plus it's on the road. Those are the 2 ones that jump out to me. The only other ones are the 4, USC, Colorado, Stanford, and Washington. And I think in those 4, they don't lose them all. I think Colorado's the one they win, and then they lose the other 3.
I think in that stretch, they go 2-2. They beat Stanford and they beat Colorado, lose to USC, lose to Washington. I think they're a 3-loss team, though. I think that Oregon game is going to be a real killer because you play USC, it's going to be brutal. You're going to lose that game, and then the fact that you have to go to Eugene, I think that's going to be the killer there. And it's a week later. I think that this offense of Washington State can beat Stanford. I think that they'll be able to win that one, especially the fact that it's in Pullman. I think that's going to really play into Washington State's advantage. I think they can pull the upset against Stanford. I think that Oregon, USC, though, and Washington are going to be the losses.
And the thing that I will say is I know that we said that the defense to us is the weak link of this team. However, you know what could help the defense?
What's that?
The fact that Luke Falk, especially last year, doesn't turn over the ball often.
Well, and one thing that
so he's not going to be giving it to the other offense.
And the one thing, again, I brought it up in what was the last one we did? What was the last team?
Stanford one?
Stanford one. It was something about the 24 turnovers in a season. Washington State, 23 turnovers. Only won 7 games. They can get to that 24 mark, and they can kind of take that up. So
if they get one more turnover?
If they get that up, they might be able to become a 9-win team. The place I heard it was Trevor Matich, the guy on ESPN for college football. He's been going around to colleges and talking about it. He talked to the defense coordinator for Washington State, and what he's been having the players on defense do is they come out and just start smacking a ball, and even after the whistle blows during practice, even after the practice, even the plays done during practice, they're still trying to rip off the ball out of the offense's hands.
So basically, like Riggs, we're going to tape the ball to your hands and then just keep punching it, right?
Sure. I don't watch that.
You've never seen the Friday Night Lights movie?
Oh, the movie?
Yeah, the movie.
I saw it once.
Where the dad. I'm going to tell the scene to Sean because he needs to have
I've seen it. I just can't remember it.
It was Riggs' dad. His drunk dad tapes the football to his arm.
Oh, Tim McGraw.
Yeah, and he continually starts punching it because his son fumbled in the game.
Okay.
That's what I thought of when you were like, they keep slapping at the ball.
Different. So they have this like pole.
It's not as aggressive.
They have this pole with a ball on a like a fucking spring. Yeah. And they just keep smacking it over and over again just to get to that motion, because last year they recovered, I think, what was it, 11 fumbles? 12? Yeah, 11 fumbles, had 12 interceptions. They just need to get that going, keep that going, force more turnovers, force the pressure, because with Luke Falk never turning the ball over, that's going to lead to points. That's going to lead to turnovers.
Interceptions.
Yeah, and but the fact that that's, he's not turning the ball over, that's going to play into the fact that you can put more points on the board that can turn some of these 3-point losses, 5-point losses, 7-point losses for them into wins, because you're giving this dynamic offense more chances. So I think that's something where Washington State, if they force more turnovers, this could be why they go from 7-5 to 9-3.
Let me ask you this. Let's say, just for argument's sake, Washington State is able to upset USC and either upset or play Washington really close. Yeah. If either one of those happen, or both, and Luke Falk puts up similar numbers to last year, so around 4,500 yards, 38 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, is there any case in your mind that Luke Falk is the senior with big games and wins over those two teams could play himself into top 5, top 3 discussion when we get to the NFL draft? Because really that's that's one of the questions that we can ask with this team, because he's kind of the quarterback to me, where we talk about Darnold, we talk about Rosen, we talk about Lamar Jackson, and then it's like, oh, there's Luke Falk's here.
I think
because he's not as flashy, he just doesn't turn over the ball.
I think if he has that season, I think he jumps Jackson. I don't think Jackson
or Josh Allen
projects too much as an NFL quarterback. Allen, I think right now I'd say Darnold, Allen, Rosen, and Falk are my top 4. I think if he has a good season and one of those guys, maybe Darnold's season last year was a fluke. I don't think it is. I think that's why he's my number 1 quarterback. And if that happens, if Wyoming lets him down, I think that could possibly drop his stock. And you look at Allen, he's a guy that has a lot of the tools and he has the build. But if he's not able to push that forward and not really take advantage of the conference he's playing in, I think he could definitely drop his stock as well. So I think he could definitely, be a top 3 quarterback going into next year's draft for sure.
Yeah, and
I could see Falk being a good New York Jet.
Why are you wishing that on him?
No,
Why are you wishing that on Luke
I said
Falk?
good New York Jet. I didn't say a bad New York Jet. I didn't say a New York Jet. I said it could be a good New York Jet.
Yeah, but that team
I
right
think
now...
he look good in green and white.
I think that team right now needs a lot more than just a quarterback's the start.
They need a quarterback.
They do need a quarterback.
They need a quarterback.
Could be picking number 1 when we get to the draft, but I
saying he'd look good.
I have a feeling with Luke Falk that it's like, for me too, he's in my top 5 coming into this year.
Top 5 quarterbacks?
Top 5, yeah. Top 5 quarterbacks coming in.
Do you have Jackson above him?
With me, no, I don't have Jackson above him. I've got Darnold number 1, Allen number 2. Rosen and Falk right now, I think, are interchangeable at 3, 4, and then either Rudolph or Mayfield at 5.
Gotcha.
That's who I'm looking at. I just feel like with Falk, he's overlooked, I'll say, because of where he plays. Because he plays for
Oklahoma State?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he plays for Washington State, and he goes up against Darnold, goes up against Jake Browning, and I feel like if he loses to Stanford, people might overlook him, even though you look at his stats, 4,500 yards and a touchdown to interception ratio that any coach would love.
I think if he's not the reason they lose, he'll be fine. I think he could definitely boost his stock. If he goes in and throws clunkers against USC, Washington, Stanford, he's dropping. Yeah. But if he goes in and it's the defense fault that they lose, not on him.
Basically, he can rise this season. I just don't see him falling this season, just with the type of quarterback he is.
I could see him falling if he starts turning the ball over.
But do you think he's going to turn the ball over?
No,
I don't.
No. But I'm saying there's always reasons guys can fall.
There's a possibility. But we're going to turn it on to you guys. Let us know. What do you guys think? Is the defense your weakest point? And are you worried about the defense?
Yes, the defense is the weakest point. Come on.
Also,
I think all Washington State fans know that.
What do you think with your schedule? How are you confident in it? Are you worried about the 4 games we talked about? And also, Cougar fans, I want to hear from you about Luke Falk and where you think he's going to play this season to end up in NFL draft discussions. Let us know down below in the comment section.